The character of Beerus was one of the earliest concepts for the 2013 Dragon Ball revival film Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods, otherwise known in Japan as Kami to Kami, which means God and God, but he went through significant redesigns from what he was originally supposed to be. Although Akira Toriyama, the original creator of Dragon Ball, was involved in the process, he wasn't always there. The original script for Battle of Gods and the concepts were designed by Tadayoshi Yamamuro and Yusuke Watanabe, and then Toriyama got involved later on when he chose to become involved with the project after the debacle that was the previous movie, which was Dragon Ball Evolution. But the original concept behind Beerus was one that was discussed by Tadayoshi Yamamuro, the anime character designer, in an OK Stars interview where he said that the original concept for Beerus was that he had a lizard-like form, but Toriyama Sensei came in, got involved, and he ultimately became an Egyptian-style character. And thus Toriyama redrew Beerus into the purple cat that we know of today. But even to this day, as of the making of this video, we have not seen any of the concept art behind Beerus looking like a lizard. But I can tell you that the original plan for Beerus was not the Beerus that we know of today. The original plan for God of Destruction Beerus is that the God of Destruction was supposed to be a character that would inflict evil upon people, that he could hack people's brains, sort of like a virus. I'm getting somewhere with this. And he would be the one responsible for the Saiyans being infected and becoming evil. So his original name, Birisu, Hakaishin Birisu, sounds like a pun on virus, and that was the original intention. But that's not what wound up happening, because when Toriyama came in, he chose to go for a much more comedic and lighthearted approach and reworked, due to probably some confusion, the name Birisu into it being a pun on the word beer. And then he created from scratch his assistant Uisu, which is Whis, as a pun on the word whiskey. So they kind of go together. When it comes to his design, Toriyama himself states in an interview that he says, because there are so many gods in my work, he's talking about the Kais, of course, I figured somebody humanoid might be difficult now, so I thought I'd make him a cat. Speaking of feline gods, I went with an Egyptian-esque costume, giving off a bit of an ominous air as well, so I'm really pleased with it. Yusuke Watanabe would also comment on this change, talking about how he said that he had been thinking since before that the Saiyans had an evil planted in their hearts by someone. And the idea was that originally it was Beerus, the god of destruction, who was going to be revealed as being the one that made them do bad things. So Beerus was originally supposed to be more of a bad guy, with the idea being that the story is that everyone got taken over and was given an evil heart. But Toriyama felt that after the earthquake, which happened in Japan, he wanted it to be a less of a tragic story and more of a positive one. So the original idea behind Beerus is that he would infect people sort of like Baby in a way and make them evil. But Toriyama stepped in and made the change, and luckily now we have the Beerus that we all know and love, who's a much more lighthearted character, and as we found out in Battle of Gods, is not really evil, but he does have a temper, and that temper gets set off after he tastes how delicious Earth food is, and Majin Buu was being selfish and would not share it, which is typical Toriyama type comedy where little things like that can lead to very big consequences. But the reason why Beerus came to Earth is because he wanted to seek out the Super Saiyajin Godo after a prophetic dream he had that was encouraged by the Oracle Fish, of course, about a great warrior who would challenge him, and that wound up, of course, being Goku. And that concept was an idea that was already there even before Toriyama got involved in the script rewrite, but when Toriyama came in, he changed it. The concept behind this original version of Beerus in the original Battle of God script pre-Toriyama rewrites was really supposed to be more of a good versus evil story, but Beerus is not really evil. As we found out in Dragon Ball Super and in the forthcoming arcs, Beerus is a guy who was tasked as a god of destruction. Now, as of right now, we don't have details as far as what it takes to become a god of destruction, but we do know that it's not something that you earn from birth. It is a position among the godly ranks that has to be earned, not given. As we found out in the Tournament of Power, when Toppo was revealed to be a god of destruction in training. So at some point in the distant past, Beerus had to have trained, possibly with Whis or the previous god of destruction, to attain that position. Strangely enough, his twin brother Champa is the god of destruction of Universe 6. So did they attain the position at the same time simultaneously? We know that Universe 6 and 7 are matched up as being twin universes, but did they achieve this title at the same time? It's something to think about, but we'll probably never really get an answer to this. But Dragon Ball's never really meant to be taken that seriously. One more point about Beerus' design. Toriyama reveals in the Chozenshu that he modeled Beerus' design on a 14-year-old Cornish Rex cat. That's a rare breed that happens to live with Toriyama. When the movie first came out, I remember people called him Bills, and that's an incorrect way to say his name, but it's one that is actually official in the Spanish dub because they felt like Beerus sounds too much like Beerus, which in Spanish means virus, and it really does. Even though what's ironic is that Beerus was supposed to be a virus in the original version of Battle of Gods before Toriyama changed it, so they call him Bills, but it's either Beers or Birisu or Beerus. Either way, it's fine. Beerus is the most feared entity in Dragon Ball, and I'm going to tell you in the next section a little bit more about why and what we know about him. Beerus is a fun character, but although he's fun and has a lot of fans, when he was first coming in, he was really hyped up and really became the most feared character in Dragon Ball. From the first few moments of the Battle of Gods movie, we are told by the Kaios that the God of Destruction Beerus is awake now and that they are extremely, extremely afraid of him. And throughout the entirety of the movie, he's constantly being shown as a fearsome warrior, being the first guy to ever flick Goku in SS3 and knock him away with one finger. Perhaps never before has Goku been humiliated that badly in a fight like when he first fought Beerus on that planet, especially the movie version, because the anime version is a little bit different and not quite as quick as the movie version. But we find out that Beerus doesn't really like Frieza or the Saiyans, but he, as was revealed later on, was perfectly fine and even suggested to Frieza that he destroy them and wipe out the entire race, which he did reveal to Vegeta in the early parts of the Granola arc, and Vegeta really didn't do anything about it, because at that point Vegeta did not care. But Vegeta in Battle of Gods did reveal that he knew exactly who Beerus was, and we actually saw some flashbacks later on of Beerus pretty much abusing King Vegeta and turning him into a joke. And then in Resurrection F, we find out that Frieza's father, many, many years ago, warned him about both Majin Buu and the God of Destruction Beerus. Even Jocko at one point thought that Beerus was fictional based on all the stories he had heard. So Beerus' name is respected all throughout Universe 7. We see Beerus in action in Battle of Gods, and he has his way with all the Z fighters. Everybody from Ultimate Gohan through Piccolo and even Vegeta end up getting pummeled by Beerus. At one point, Vegeta gets angry after Beerus slaps his wife, and he actually connects with some shots on Beerus, but it really did no damage. In fact, remember the scene where Beerus has his way with the Z fighters using chopsticks? Did you know that according to Tadayoshi Yamamuro, in the original version of that scene, he wanted Beerus to deal with Piccolo, Tenshinhan, and 18 with a spoon or a fork, but he and film director Masahiro Hosada agreed to use chopsticks, but he uses the chopsticks in a very different type of way. He uses them more in a traditional Aikido or Hapkido style. So Beerus' martial arts is far more advanced than just punches and kicks, as he is trained in various different forms of joint locks and key locks that he can inflict on people. Not to mention that he also knows how to literally knock you out by poking you in the forehead with his finger, like he did to Vegeta, which we saw originally in the Bone Thugs and Harmony video for Crossroads. Remember that video where the guy does that? Yeah, Beerus does it too. I can't believe they got an idea from a Bone Thugs video. Did they really get the idea from there? Maybe, but it's awesome. In the Battle of Gods movie, Beerus goes toe-to-toe with God Goku, but we find out that he was only using 70% of his power. So as of right now, we have not seen Beerus at his max power, although 70% to go toe-to-toe with that Goku tells me that with Goku continuously getting better and unlocking new forms as the series progressed, the debate about whether Goku has surpassed him or not has been going on for quite some time. Has Goku, after the Moral arc with Ultra Instinct, actually surpassed Beerus yet? That's been the question on many people's minds for a long time. We do know based on the manga that Beerus does know a version of Ultra Instinct because during the Tournament of Power arc in the manga, there was a battle royale of sorts with the Gods of Destruction, and Beerus performed very well in that fight or rumble, and he showed off something similar to what would be known as Ultra Instinct later on in that arc, but we really don't know the details of what that is. However, later on in that arc, Goku was able to achieve the completed version of Ultra Instinct, and Beerus was very surprised and showed a lot of respect for Goku being his representative of Universe 7. As I stated earlier, Beerus has various different ways to disable his opponents, including using the Hapkido techniques, very quick effective strikes, and of course, Hakai. We find out later in Dragon Ball Super that Gods of Destruction have their own kind of energy, not just God Ki, but Hakai energy, destruction energy. And Beerus knows how to use this to effectively wipe somebody out, not just killing them and sending them to hell, but wiping them out of existence beyond even being in hell, which we see Beerus demonstrate in Dragon Ball Super against the evil Kaioshin known as Zamasu the first time he did the technique, and then we see him use it again on a ghost, the ghost of Dr. Mashirito from Dr. Slump. So Beerus can kill you even if you are dead and wipe you out with just one quick move. Based on what we now know about the Gods of Destruction, they follow the same exact theological constraints that other gods do in the Dragon Ball godly hierarchy, in that they are chosen and they are given that position. They usually have somebody above them, except for, as of right now, Zeno, the Omni King. He's the highest, but we know that they're also not immortal. Gods of Destruction can be killed, as we found out. So Beerus himself at some point could die, whether it be of old age, as was teased that he was getting old by Whis in Battle of Gods, or he could be killed in battle, or the third option is what we found out in Dragon Ball Super, which is that Beerus is connected to his Kaioshin. So Gods of Destruction are connected to their Supreme Kais, and so if the Supreme Kai dies, the God of Destruction will also die with him. So if somebody kills Kaioshin, that means that Beerus will also die. But the question I've always had is, well, how does that explain the other Kaioshin? Remember, in Dragon Ball, the manga, and Dragon Ball Z, we find out that there are 5 Kaioshin total, including the Grand Supreme Kai. But all but one had already been killed by Majin Buu eons ago. So do you have to actually kill all the Kaioshin in the respective universe for the God of Destruction to die as well? That's something that I've always found to be a weird retcon that really wasn't delved into as much as I wish it was. Beerus' character has undergone a few changes though since he was first introduced. At first, his duality with Goku was interesting because they both were guys who wanted to fight strong opponents. Beerus wanted to fight the god, and Goku's always looking for a new fight. And they both love food, and they both really kind of focus on those two things more than anything in life. But After Battle of Gods, Beerus became more of a side character in that he would kind of watch what was going on and never really got involved, rarely. But we never really saw Beerus fighting like seriously ever again. There were a few comedic moments here and there and moments where he would actually threaten to step in or actually step in, but seeing a full-out Beerus fight, except for training, we have not seen it since Battle of Gods, and it's something that I think everyone wants to see, because we want to see more of Beerus fighting. We also want to see him at max power finally against Goku. Will we ever get that? That remains to be seen. Beerus is powerful, but also lazy and playful, which kind of makes him a cat. You know, it kind of fits with the character. Another thing I want to point out too about retcons is that we found out that the person who sealed the old Kai in the Z-Sword was Beerus, and that was not stated anywhere in the original manga that it was a god of destruction, but the old Kai says it was somebody who wasn't very powerful, so obviously Toriyama changed that because Beerus is the opposite of being someone who is not very powerful. We also found out in Dragon Ball Super that Beerus was responsible for the dinosaurs going extinct, but that also makes no sense because in Dragon Ball we see dinosaurs everywhere. So some of the retcons they've added in Super to Beerus' character are kind of weird and unnecessary. We don't need that. I do like the fact that Beerus is always demanding respect though. It is a good aspect of his character, even if he's lazy and eating food all day. And in return, Beerus can also be very polite as well. Like we see him be very polite and apologetic to even Bulma, and even babysat her daughter in Dragon Ball Super Broly. However, it seems like Beerus doesn't really respect other gods in some cases. For example, he always treats the Supreme Kai like he's beneath him, not really caring what he has to say and kind of bullying him around, which is kind of funny. And he also has a sibling rivalry with his brother Champa from Universe 6, as we saw in Dragon Ball Super. Even though he does care about Champa, like we saw, there is that rivalry there as he constantly makes fun of his weight and refers to him as an inferior brother of the two. Interestingly enough, Beerus seems to have a bit of a beef with Kitella, and the question for a long time was, is Kitella stronger than Beerus? All we know is that Kitella defeated Beerus in arm wrestling, but never anything about an actual fight. We know nothing about Beerus' history when it comes to his parents. He doesn't have any children, and all we know is that Champa is his brother, and he doesn't appear to have any other siblings. The laziness of Beerus, though, has cost him because, as we would find out in the Tournament of Power arc, Universe 7 has a very low mortal ranking because Beerus did not fulfill his duties properly as a god of destruction, wiping out too many civilizations without really giving them a chance to grow, and because of this, their rankings are very, very low in the eyes of the Omni King. Something I always found amusing that the manga revealed about Beerus is that at one time in the distant past, there was an all-universe hide-and-seek tournament that Zeno held, but when Beerus hid in the tournament, he fell asleep for 50 years, and because of that, the tournament was canceled, which infuriated the Omni King, and the Omni King, as we saw in Super, is the only character that Beerus is truly, truly afraid of. But Beerus can sleep for decades, as we found out in Battle of Gods, but he's already woken up and faced off against Goku once. The question is now, will they face off again, or when is Beerus going to go back to sleep for a long time? Is it going to happen at the end of Super when this whole thing is wrapped up, or will it never happen? That remains to be seen. Beerus has become a bit of a mentor, not just to Goku, but also to Vegeta, especially in the Granola arc, as right now Beerus is training Vegeta on how to perform the Hakai technique, taunting him but also trying to inspire him to do better. Tough love has always been Beerus' style, you know. On top of that, it was interesting because in the Moral arc, Beerus almost got involved when his universe was threatened when Moral absorbed or fused with planet Earth. Beerus was about to jump in, but then he chose not to, and Goku was able to dispatch Moro. The reality is that when it comes to Beerus' character, having him stick around in Dragon Ball Super and not just go back to sleep is a positive and also a negative for the story. Although I like Beerus as a character a lot and he's a lot of fun, he's become nothing more than just a supporting character on the sidelines that makes threats, eats food, and is an invisible measuring stick for Goku. We don't know what his max power is, but based on the growth that Goku's achieved in Dragon Ball Super, one would think that Goku surpassed him a while back. But they constantly use Beerus, seemingly, as a measuring stick or as a goalpost, as an invisible goal for Goku to reach, even though Goku may have already surpassed him. We don't really know, because they won't show Beerus fighting Goku or even have a statement about Beerus' max power. In the Moral arc, many were sure that Goku had surpassed him, but now in this arc, the Granola arc, it seems like Beerus may still be stronger. It's still a question that's up in the air, and one up for debate that hopefully we'll have an answer to by the end of the Granola arc. But Beerus' character has not really evolved much. He's become more close to Goku, maybe even considered a friend or a mentor to Goku and Vegeta, like I said earlier in this section, but we haven't seen anything really happen personal to Beerus. We haven't seen him show any real emotion since the TOP when his universe was in danger of being wiped out. But beyond that, what are we going to see from Beerus in the future? Will we see maybe Champa get in trouble? Will we see him actually do something interesting to evolve his character and make him a more layered character? I'm not really sure. He just seems to be there as a character to elevate Goku and Vegeta, and there's not really much to him right now, but hopefully the future will change that. That will do it for this edition of Dragon Ball in Depth. Everything you ever wanted to know about Beerus so far, and I hope we get more answers about Beerus' past as the series progresses. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.